Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. Sorry for being a little late. Had to get my back crickety popped, and then I forgot to eat, so I should eat something, because otherwise you can't take your pills. And if you don't take your pills, then you get to be a sad little squid crying in a corner, and you all don't need to deal with that. Also, Flossie, I'm gonna hold on here. Let's see. Let me get that. No. Well, damn it. I forgot. Well, I wish I could give you your 500 points back, but I can't. So gonna go ahead and pause our music here. Thank you. And we're gonna go ahead and just launch back into echoes. I don't know if I'll be able to do voices today. Who friggin' knows? Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Morning is worth you taking care of yourself. We want you to be a happy, healthy squid. Ah, well. Did that Abra just disappear really faster than it should have? I feel like that's something. I saw you got your internet back, Flossie. How's it doing? How's it going? Like, all good? Feels good? All the things? Yes, yes? As you can see, we're on episode 4, part 2. I kept trying to think of, I had somebody tell me a game that I should try. I don't have it. But I was trying to look up some games I should play after this is done. But I guess, I don't know, we'll just see if there's an interest in me keep streaming. Otherwise, we'll just have a short stream today, and that's okay. So, we're gonna go ahead and launch up in. Rose Morrison nodded sadly. She seemed resigned. Okay, I don't remember what we were supposed to do, but I guess I'm gonna search a bunker. I had no difficulty finding the door to the bunker. You got inside through a trap door at the end of the garden, as Rose Morrison told me. It's still slow unpacking. Still got 7 boxes of books is done. Can't unpack one till Squirmy's room settled. We have 12 more book boxes. Boar makes fun of us all the time for not getting all of our stuff out from Tina, but it was like, we had no bookcases and stuff. Where am I supposed to put it? Then I just have 12 boxes all over the floor. So it's, as we got stuff, we're slowly kind of putting stuff away. So I feel your pain, Flossie. Let's see. The interior was typical of these constructions, which had been built all over the country during the Cold War. A bunk bed, a table, a few cans of food on the shelf, and a sliding door which led to a Spartan washroom. A person who likes to be around people is an extrovert. Yes. Is that supposed to be a joke or something, or just something you've just learned? Person who doesn't want to be around people is an introvert. Yes. If I like to be around cats, which we don't have, but go for it. Does that make me a pervert? Go to your corner, Stitchy. I wouldn't have been surprised if all the homes in Greenhearth had one, at a time when the town became the bedroom town for employees attached to the Viracocha project. What was surprising, however, were signs of recent occupation. Occupation. Oh my god, words. Had Oscar come to stay here when he returned to Greenhearth without letting his wife know? A cell phone had been left at the table. The battery was dead, but the phone seemed up to date enough to have a GPS system. This was Oscar's phone, and he had had it with him when he was on the run. Maybe I'd have the proof he'd been near my home when Jody had disappeared. If that was the case, what would that information... Stitchy, go to your corner. If that's the case, would that information be enough to convince Curtis? Probably not. Although I'd need help from the feds, or rather from Parker, to unlock it and get access to the location history. Yes. Making sure. A notebook. It's impossible that the feds had left this behind when they searched the bunker. So it seemed to be confirmed that Oscar had been back here recently. Love you, Squiddy. Love you too, Stitchy. And my corner is full of... Did you press an enter button before you were ready? Things. I don't like that there was a space between that. Pages and pages were covered with complex mathematical calculations which seemed to involve geographic coordinates. In any case, they seemed to be connected to the radio equipment stolen from the hospital. On the last page, the result of an equation had been circled several times with bold sweeps of pen. The trouble was, I was incapable of deciphering all of this, and more, I had no idea who could help me understand it. The feds? This wasn't in the skill set of your regular bureau agent. If they hadn't already posted a specialist out here, they'd have to find one double quick. Perhaps Terry or Abel would have some idea what the equipment stolen from the hospital was for. I still need to find a way to go and see them. I'd found everything Oscar had left behind after his recent occupation of the bunker. If there were older pieces of evidence, they'd already been filed by the feds, and I suspected they hadn't found anything conclusive. Between my talks with Rose and the clues left in this room, I was beginning to get a clearer mental picture of Morrison. Everything led me to believe that he'd been possessed, for want of a better word, by this Itor Majorana. Like with Liz and the foreman, maybe it had actually been Itor who had killed Adeline and stole the radio equipment at the hospital. Maybe Morrison really was trying to help me, despite the interference from the other personality, as he had claimed from the start. Once again, I left the place with more questions than answers, but at least the clues I found would help me form a plan of action. As I closed the trap door, I thought of Jody. Had Oscar kept her here? There was nothing to confirm or deny the thought. All I could do was hold on to the hope that it wasn't too late, that I would find her. Let's... guess we're going to try William Curtis. Detective Fox. I would like to see Abel and Terry. That's all I'm going to say. Access to the last survivors of the Viracocha project is very restricted, as you must realize. Of course, I could make an exception for you, but you'll have to explain why. There's no point in stonewalling him. The only way he'd agree to my request is to lay my cards on the table. So I gave a rundown of my meeting with Rose Morrison, the clues found in the bunker, and the mysterious notebook left by Morrison. I'm sending this notebook to the forensic team. Maybe they can make something of it. All right. And Abel and Terry? I'll let security know they should allow you to visit. As you might guess, they haven't exactly been cooperative with the Bureau. I guess they don't trust us, and I really can't blame them after the organization fiasco following Dr. Petrosky's death. Maybe you're better placed to get something out of them. Maybe. Abel and Terry. Greenheart's new hospital was a modern concrete block which had probably been hastily built after the fire at the old building. After I introduced myself at reception, they took me down some corridors to a small visiting room. A few minutes later, Abel Smith and Terry Graham came. Ricky, this is a surprise. Has the nice detective come back to save us? If Abel hadn't seemed much different from the last time I seen him, Terry seemed lessened somehow. Every movement seemed to cause him pain as he hobbled in, leaning heavily on a cane. Seeing my concern, he said at once, if you're wondering what happened when we stopped taking our meds for too long, here's the result. Why refuse the treatment? To be helpful to the nice detective's investigation. We didn't want to forget our past again, at least not while Oscar's on the loose. So the feds have put us under observation here. But you didn't come to listen to us moan. Maybe I did. Maybe it's a thing I like. We heard about your wife. What can we do to help you? Apparently Oscar took some radio equipment during the events at the hospital. Does that mean anything to you? I don't know, Ricky. I was just head of security and everything was classified. There was a department called Applied Radio Astronomy on the top floor, but I got absolutely no idea what they were doing there. Maybe the man in the hat was trying to call the Star People. Terry and I look at Abel. The Star People. Yes, the Star People left some things. The bad man, his friend with eyes everywhere, found them, and they used them on us to try to understand them. And now we hear the echoes of the stars. The man in the hat hears them. I hear them too, very loud, because the bad man used a strange bell I gave to the doctor a lot on me. So we can see ourselves on the equipment, know where we are. Abel was even more baffling than usual. It took a minute to try and comprehend the information before saying, so is Oscar trying to send a signal to the stars? Maybe, because the Star People want to know if dinner is served, and if the person hiding the man in the hat wants to tell them yes. That's why they had to stop the experiments. Sorry, Mr. Nice Detective, I don't know how to explain it better. I turned to Terry, but he looked as confused as I was. Sorry, buddy. He's lost me too. Abel looked hurt. He was clearly trying his best, but his best was still pretty vague. I'd given Oscar's calculation notes to the feds. Maybe they managed to do something with them. Well, let's hope so, because if there's one thing I was sure of, it was that whatever Oscar was up to, it was never good. Unfortunately, my visit hadn't helped me out one bit. The questions were stacking up one after another, but I was still no closer to finding Jody. What did Abel mean by the star people? Was he trying to tell me that the Arthur's bell came from outer space? Daru. That seemed crazy, but everything I'd seen here in Greenhearth was just as crazy. I didn't hang around after that, but I could tell they were glad to see a familiar face and to escape for just a short while from their dreary routine. I didn't know then that was the last time I'd see them. Oh, well, shit. I'll talk to Lewis. Detective Fox, any developments? I need to scan the contents of this phone. Well, I've got the equipment to do that, but it'll take a little time, Detective. Can I ask what you're hoping to find? I think this is the phone Morrison's been using while he's been on the run. With a little luck, the GPS history will confirm his presence near my home when my wife disappeared. Well, if that's the case, it should certainly be enough to convince Curtis to help you. Come back in a while. I'll have the results. I'll wait, if that's okay with you. As you wish. I'd hardly had any time for a cup of coffee at the bar before Agent Parker was back. Ah, Detective, here we are. We got the results of the phone analysis. And, it's Oscar Morrison's phone. We matched some fingerprints from the phone. As for the GPS coordinates, we've been able to recover his itinerary. He did indeed go to your home with the time window we've got for your wife's disappearance. And what's he been doing during the 6 months on the run? Well, it appears he was getting closer to you, but very carefully, avoiding the major highways, mostly getting around on foot. Morrison knew he was wanted, and the slightest mistake would lead to his imprisonment. Once his plan was accomplished, he probably stole a vehicle and came straight back here to Greenhearth. Do you know how he managed to come back to town without getting caught? No, that's something we don't know, for now. What if he made my wife drive? What if he made Jody drive, like, into Greenhearth? I don't know, maybe that's dumb. There's another gray area. Morrison seems obsessed with you. His only goal, while being a fugitive, has been to ensure that you return to Greenhearth. Do you have any idea what he wants? I knew exactly what he wanted. The note he'd left me made that perfectly clear. He wanted the bell. Or rather, Ettore Margeron had wanted the bell, and Oscar was under his control. But I couldn't tell the feds that without revealing to them the existence of the bell, my bargaining chip to get my wife back. I simply replied, no, I don't know what he wants, but I'd like to find out too. Parker watched me silently with his keen gaze, as though he suspected something was waiting for me to confess. Well, let's hope we get to the bottom of the mystery. Curtis already knows, but I think it'd be wise for you to pay him a little visit to figure out what to do next. Okay, well then off I go to Curtis. Whoop, 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 whoop. When I returned to the police station with the proof that Jody had really been kidnapped by Oscar Morrison, the Curtis who had first greeted me had exchanged much of his self-confident arrogance with an air of downtrodden remorse. Detective Fox. My team sent over their conclusions about Morrison's phone. On behalf of the federal agency, I want to extend my deepest apology. I never should have doubted your honesty. Thank you for acknowledging that. I accept your apology, but best we press on now. You must be aware that the first 48 hours of a kidnapping are crucial, and I've had to spend most of those convincing you to get involved. Yes, and from now on, you have the Bureau's complete support. We're going to do everything in our power to get your wife back to you safe and sound. And I'd like to officially invite you to join the team and help us apprehend Oscar Morrison. I wanted to blend his names together. Instead of just saying Oscar Morrison, I wanted to be like, Moscar, wah, 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 wah. It's clear to me now that your unique perspective on this case could really be a great aid in helping us to reach a successful outcome. For you and us both. Okay. I don't trust him, but I'll accept it. What's our next move? The notebook you found in Morrison's bunker is promising, but we need a bit more time to analyze it. We suggest we meet up tomorrow morning when I have the first results. I went back to the hotel for the night. I didn't know how much Oscar was responsible for the kidnapping and how much this Ettore Margeron was, but my determination to make them pay hadn't exactly wavered in the face of this path full of obstacles that kept me from finding my wife. I didn't know what their plans were either. I thought of the bell, of the star people that Abel had spoken of, and the creature the foreman had mentioned before he died. It was all connected, I knew that now. Especially I'd hoped wherever she was, Jody was okay. Hey, Wolfie, how you doing? I finally sank into a dreamless sleep late in the night. The next day I was woken up early by a call from the sheriff. Greenhearth Hospital had been set on fire. Oh, shit! It was still too soon to establish a death toll, but there was still hope for Terry Graham and Abel Smith, who were from the time among the missing. The Bureau had once again failed to protect the two of the last survivors of the Viracocha project. I went to the police station. I'd hope there might be some good news. Curtis was waiting for me in the precinct break room. Gianna and Bull had seemed to have been called in too, and we were already there. A map of the town pinned to the wall in several zones have been highlighted. Good, we can start. The notebook belonging to Oscar Morrison that you found, Mr. Fox, has been analyzed by our scientific team. Apparently, it's possible to triangulate the position of the survivors from the Viracocha project using radio equipment. Radio equipment which corresponds to that stolen by Morrison during the events which took place in the former Viracocha Project Research Center 6 months ago, I suppose. Just a minute, how come the survivors are visible with radio waves? It's connected to the experiments that were carried out during the Viracocha Project. As you know, the survivors were treated for medical and psychiatric problems. I can't go into details because it's classified. But Morrison's calculations allowed him to establish that the survivors gave off a detectable radio signal with the radar waves. But why would Morrison want to find the last survivors? Especially since we know where they are. Morrison didn't necessarily know about Abel Smith and Terry Graham's presence in Greenhearth Hospital. But he's quick to burn it as soon as he had the information. Hang on, are we sure it's Morrison who set fire to the hospital? It does correspond to his usual modus operandi. It does indeed, Mr. Bull. We've been able to determine that Oscar Morrison was behind the fire at the morgue, and everything suggests, with the new evidence, it was also him who set fire to the research center in the old hospital. Well, I fucking hope so. It was nobody else who did it. It sounds like he wants to finish the job the foreman started and eliminate all the other survivors, but that would include him too. Why would that be okay? I don't know. That's the hypothesis of the Bureau, too. Yes. Petrovsky's former patients must represent a threat to his plan. Plans we don't know anything about at the moment. Oscar, or rather Ettore, must be trying to find the bell. Why was he so intent on Arthur's former patients when he knew it was in my possession? Unless he decided to eliminate the other potential threats before redoubling his efforts to get a hold of the bell. After all, I was here. I wasn't going anywhere until I found my wife, and he must believe that Gianna, Ernest, and I wouldn't represent a danger once the other survivors had been eliminated. All right, would you please? Hi, Stitchy.
I headbutted the door frame.
No. Well, don't
do that?
Yeah. Would you please take a look at the map of the town? Several zones have been circled on the map of Greenhearth.
Stay here, come with me.
You know she's coming with you. Silly Mimo. I do like this game. I wanted to mention that I did get this game for free for asking for some new keys for games, and I do like this game. I love the art style. I love the art style change. I just wish there was a little more noise, in between the spots where they put in like alert noises and things like that. Even if it's just like a small sound, like people getting coffee or something like that, just something so it's not such dead silence all the time. Unless they're doing that to freak us out, and then which I'm not freaked out yet. That's really so far the only negative I could think about the game, and it's not even that big a negative because you could always play some music for yourself. Ow, worst nightmare, that went in my hair. How you doing today? Curtis appeared to be expecting us to ask them about it. Okay, well, what's signal B? I suppose this owns the hospital? Exactly. We started getting readings during the night before the fire. Another settlement needs your help. I can't. I've got to get my wife. So get in line. We're sure this corresponds to the position of Abel Smith and Terry Graham, maybe even to that of Oscar Morrison, who must have been near the hospital at the time. Okay. Excuse me. The circled zone showed a building at some distance from the town in the middle of the forest. What's there at that spot on the map? There's been a Catholic mission there for centuries. The monks who take care of the place are almost completely self-sufficient. They usually don't get mixed up in town business. Oh, what about that guy who ran away because he got really into religion? Did he go there? So why is there a signal been detected there? Stephen Lloyd. Ernest was talking about the last known survivor of the Viracocha project, reported missing years ago. He'd been the first the Bureau lost track of, before Abel went back to the hospital and long before Arthur took up his post in Greenhearth. Yes, Mr. Bull, that's what we think too. Oh yes, I was right. Woohoo! If Mr. Lloyd had indeed found refuge in the monastery, then everything suggests he's Oscar Morrison's next target. Well, then this must be where Oscar's been kind of hanging his butt around. I pointed to the zone that said weak signal. Probably a detection artifact. There's no point considering it. The signal's very weak compared to theirs, too. Our radio specialist was being thorough, so they put it on the map. Well, strange. It matches the position of Arthur's cabin. If he heard me, Curtis didn't react to the remark. Right, I suppose you can guess what comes next. Detective Fox, the Bureau would like you to go to the monastery so you can help us find Stephen Lloyd before he is eliminated by Oscar Morrison. To assist you in that task, you'll be supported by Sheriff Walter, who you've already worked with, as well as Mr. Bull here. Does that mean you're going to take this electronic tag I've been dragging around my ankle for months? No, Mr. Bull, it means you're going to enjoy a temporary waiver of your home detention, if, of course, you agree to help us. Bring me Stephen Lloyd, safe and sound, and we'll reevaluate your case. Agent Parker's already in place with a team. They're ready to step in if Morrison tries anything. As for me, I'm going to supervise the operation around the hospital until you get back. For the time being, the bodies of Abel Smith and Terry Graham haven't been found, so if it turns out they survived the fire, we'll have to organize their extraction to a secure health facility. Ernest and I left the police station. Oh, Gianna, Ernest, and I left the... Can't forget about Gianna. Left the police station and climbed into the sheriff's car. Yeah, see, now they've got some spooky-ass music, and I'm ready for it. I like it. A slow sliding picture. Very nice. After a lively 10-minute drive along the hairpin bends that climb the mountainside, we came into the view of an old Franciscan mission. The neo-Gothic architecture style was reminiscent of the East Coast. Gargoyles, bas-relief angels, and other oddities. Basically spooky. Basically spooky. Gianna told me that the monument was too close to Greenhearth to become a tourist attraction. The monks who lived there had been left in peace, and references to the building had been removed from the maps of the region. Okay. Gianna approached a man. Oh, today someone came up to my friend in the park and asked if he was babysitting, and my friend goes, "No, mother's in the prison for..." Wait, hold on. Today someone came to my friend in the park and asked if he was babysitting. My friend goes, "No, mother's in prison." Ooh, what? Oh my. We went to the building, and I don't remember if I began my investigation right away or if I spoke with my companions before I started. Oh, you're giving me an option. No, I'm searching. You can't stop me. Cloister time. We found ourselves in the Abbey cloister. Several monks were going about their business. I remember speaking to them and trying to glean some information. Boopa, boopa, boopa. I want the guy furthest in the back. I fucking knew it. As soon as he noticed my presence and I his, one of the monks turned and ran away down a corridor. I'd been a cop long enough for my reflexes to be on alert. I tried to follow him before I could catch up. He seemed to vanish. Had it been Ettore who could have borrowed a habit to go unnoticed? Ah, yes. Oh, okay. So today someone came to my friend in the park and asked who he was babysitting, and my friend goes, "No, mother's in prison for vehicular manslaughter and insurance fraud." Why do I feel there's a pun coming up? I'm sure there maybe isn't, but why do I feel there's a pun coming to me? The corridor he'd taken led to the monk cells. One of them was guarded by a rather imposing monk. Was this where I'd find Stephen Lloyd? I went nearer. "Good morning, brother." The monk was silent. "Good morning, brother?" The man stared at me stoically, but seemed intractable. I decided to leave it for a moment and go back to the cloister. Okay, closest guy. One of the monks was dressed differently from the others. I figured he must be of a higher rank. I went over to him. "Father?" "What is this intrusion into the house of the Lord? We had an agreement with Greenhearth. Some of my brothers have made a vow of silence and isolation. This situation is unacceptable. Someone dangerous has infiltrated your abbey. Listen, my son, what you said makes no sense. We've been self-sufficient here for years and have nothing to hide. Why would someone dangerous, as you say, come after us? We know Stephen Lloyd is hiding here. Somebody is after him and someone who wishes to take his life." "I'm sorry, my son, but Stephen Lloyd is no longer here, and I'll have to ask you to leave the premises immediately." Father Diego wasn't going to be easy to convince, but he had to hand over Stephen Lloyd before it was too late. Best part, it wasn't even his kid. He was babysitting for a friend and just wanted to prove a point. Ah, okay. There was no point in insisting without more proof of the gravity situation. You! One of the monks noticed me as he crossed the cloister. I approached him. He looked mildly irritated by the intrusion of the town people into his daily life. What do you want now? What do you mean now? What are you trying to say? I don't know if I should talk to you, but I think Father Diego's lost his mind. He moved closer to me and added in a confidential murmur. First, he welcomed that woman a while back. She was injured, certainly, but we are a serious monastic order. We can't just take people in at the drop of a hat, and probably not women unless she was a nun. And now all these town people have invaded our space. It's very upsetting. Suddenly, he pulled himself together and was about to turn away. Wait, this woman, can you... Forgive me, my son, I've already said too much. I shouldn't have unburdened myself so. If you'll excuse me. But, sorry, I have a lot to do. I have chores in the vegetable garden today. I have to clean the glass house before sex, do you see? Excuse me. The monk turned and strode across the cloister, clearly in a hurry to get away. Who had he been talking about? Did it have anything to do with my investigation? Or Jody's disappearance? Oh! For some weird reason, I thought it was going to be like the lady who had died earlier in like chapter 2, but oh, maybe not. It was hard to say, but as soon as everything seemed to be centered on the Viracocha project, oh, excuse me. I guess the information would be useful sooner or later. I don't recall finding anything else in the Abbey cloister. All right, we're going to Father Diego. You sheltered a wounded woman. You sheltered a wounded woman a few months ago. One of your brothers told me you rescued a wounded woman a few months ago. I don't see what that's got to do with you, but yes, we did indeed grant asylum to a guest for a while. Did she tell you her name? Jill, I think. To be frank, she was rather evasive. It was around midsummer. I was very busy. It was Brother Felipe who mostly took care of her. She arrived covered in bruises, at least one broken rib. Her condition didn't require major medical attention, so we treated her here, let her use an empty cell while she healed enough to consider what to do next, physically and especially spiritually. Excuse me. Did she tell you why she was there? I didn't ask any questions, and she didn't come to confession. But if you want to know what I think, bruises, a broken rib, I think it looked like domestic violence. It's unusual, but unfortunately, it's not the first time we received women in that situation. It won't be the last. When she was back on her feet, she left. I gave her the address of the convent of the Sisters of Mercy, which is a short day's walk from here by forest path, recommended that she should say I sent her. I've heard nothing since. Would the convent have let you know if she turned up there? Probably not. We don't have a telephone, and the Mother Superior would have no reason to turn her away. I see. Thank you for answering my questions. I have nothing to hide, my son. Don't forget that in the end, it is our Lord Jesus Christ who will judge us all. On hearing the tale of the injured woman, I immediately thought of Liz. Right. I was like, Liz? No, not Liz. The one before that. Inez, I think her name was. Maybe. I couldn't believe she'd survived that fall. And even if she had, she wouldn't have come out with it with nothing but a broken rib and a few bruises. Thank you. Unless it had been Inez Belgadir. Adeline had been convinced she was still alive. Can't I question him a little more? Oh, okay. I have to find more evidence. Okie dokie. So I'll talk to Gianna. Hear about a possible survivor at the Abbey. Okay. Nice achievement for myself, I say. Ah, Fox. Gianna looked delighted to be out on the ground again after months confined to the office by the Federal Bureau. I found a way into the cell. You should take a look. There's some interesting things. She pointed out a staircase and a vaulted passageway. Do you want to come with me? I think your investigation skills are better honed than mine. So many twisted paths of logic. I know. I'm like, it could have been Jody. And then they were like, she wandered off by herself. I'm like, okay, probably not Jody. And then they were like, it could have been Liz. I'm like, I wasn't thinking Liz. I was thinking Inez, who we never found her body. I mean, Liz just dropped from a multi-story thing. I don't think she's walking away with bruises and a broken rib. But still, yeah, I don't know. Right? I think, yeah. All right. If there's anything else, you know where to find me. Well, then that's where I go, to the cellar. The Abbey cellar was gloomy, vaulted cavern, badly lit. Agent Parker, who was already there, seemed to take note of every tiny detail in the room with his hawkish gaze. He came to join me. Ah, Detective Fox, I see you two have sniffed out the place where some promising clues may be hidden. Unfortunately, I'm afraid my investigating days are behind me and I have to stand ready to order my team just as soon as Morrison shows his face. Incidentally, we seem to have found some radio equipment that seems to correspond to those stolen from the old hospital. I believe we have reasonably concluded Morrison is here. I suggest you be careful, detective, and don't hesitate to come with me. I'll be happy to give you my advice. Okay, so... You! A monk sweeping, muttering quietly, I went over to him. Is everything all right, brother? Yes, sorry, look at the image I'm presenting of our monastery. I shouldn't have complained like that when there are strangers in our midst. You don't like sweeping? I don't. Sweeping is not my favorite thing. Do you like sweeping, chat? Do you like sweeping? No, it's not that, but Brother Jeremiah should be doing it this week, and once again, he's unavailable. Brother Jeremiah? Don't tell the abbot I was complaining, but I don't understand why he gets so much preferential treatment. This time is supposed to be because of the police. What's it going to be next time? Tell me this. I'm sorry, please excuse me. I shouldn't be moaning to you if you just allow me to concentrate on my work. Sweeping's better than washing baseboards. Oh, I don't think I've washed a baseboard since I've been in the military. I'm like, you will not make me wash baseboards again. I will send Stitchy before I do that. His brother Jeremiah is probably in the guarded cell. Was Stephen Lloyd hiding behind the alias? Or, hear me out, could be Morrison. A hastily drawn sketch on the floor. I'm no expert, but I thought I recognized Oscar Morrison's hand. But the lines are far more disorganized and hesitant than usual. Like every once in a while, I look at our baseboards, Flossie, and I'm like, I should clean you, but I don't want to. We did when we cleaned the old apartment. Squirmy helped. Aw, that's always a good one. That's a good thing to do. Wonder if Parker could tell me more. A strange symbol had been drawn in blood on a pillar. How does that get away from all this daily cleaning? I mean, I know I've missed a hairball or two while sweeping, but I don't miss blood drawn into a certain shape on a pillar. Come on, what's going on here? How dare. Does this have something to do with Stephen or with Ettore? Maybe Parker will be able to tell me more. Where's Parker? Where is the other? I hear tick-ticking. What's that? There's blood on one of the pillars. Oh my god! It's still congealing, so it's recent. And the pattern in the stain suggests a physical altercation. If one of the monks has been attacked, it's possible that Ettore has taken his habit to get around the abbey unnoticed. Crazy. I was crazy once. It's crazy. That corroborated my theory of the identity of the suspicious monk who I encountered in the cloister. Excuse me, I am drinking diet soda and I'm a little burpy. Unfortunately, I haven't found the victim's body, but I could hope that this clue would be enough to convince the abbot to let me meet Stephen Lloyd. As far as I remember, there are no other clues. All right, well, let's talk to Parker. How can I help you? What can you tell me about Stephen Lloyd? He's one of the 10 survivors of the incident which put an end to the Viracocha project. Lloyd was high up in the hierarchy. He's one of the masterminds and one of the founding fathers of the project. Wait a minute, are you saying Stephen Lloyd is the person hidden behind the alias Ticklix? No, but he was directly under Ticklix in the organization, if you see what I mean. Could Lloyd tell us about the project? Yeah, it's hard to say. He's been missing for years. I'm afraid we're going to find an unstable and confused man. I see. Someone drew a symbol in blood. Does that mean anything to you? Show me. Parker and I went to the pillar in question. Ah, yes, the symbol is connected to a former member of the Viracocha project. Officially, he's supposed to be among the victims of the incident. Ettore Marigiana. Parker surveyed me quietly as he said in a cold and guarded voice. I see you're better informed than I supposed. Since you're already in the secret, there's no point evocating. Ettore Marjorie and Oscar Morrison are two faces of the same entity, but Ettore was put to sleep after the Viracocha project debacle. As you may have realized, the individuals who participated in the experiments at the old hospital all developed a kind of personal tic. This tic allowed them to establish their personality and keep control of the other implanted personalities. It appears that Ettore drew this symbol to avoid Oscar Morrison retaking command. I see. looking at this drawing, it looks like Oscar Morrison's work. What do you think? If I recall the work in the file right, the style corresponds to Oscar Morrison's, but it's like if he was interrupted suddenly. Wait a minute. If I got this right, we conclude that Oscar Morrison tried to retake control of Ettore by doing this sketch, but Ettore managed to keep control by painting the symbol in blood. Is that right? Yeah, that's exactly right. Unfortunately, it's not good news for us. Marjorana is a dangerous and psychologically unstable. I will call my team to ready up catching him. Right. Oh, fun. Fun. Father Diego, you got some shit going on. Oh. I remember talking to Ernest Bull. Damn it, I don't want to talk to Ernest Bull. Ricky, come over here. I got something to say to you. Ernest and I moved away. I heard from some of my contacts. Apparently there's an insurrection brewing among the feds. An insurrection? Yes. I've been informed that a secret faction within the feds posted to Greenhearth are cooking something up. Do you think Parker? Maybe. Probably. I don't see Curtis turning against the hierarchy. I figure they're ready to leap into action as soon as they've traced you-know-what. Bull was referring to the bell, of course. I shouldn't have been surprised that Parker knew of its existence and wanted to get a hold of it. I had to stay on my toes and be ready to pull the wool over his eyes. Anyways, could you drop a quiet word in the sheriff's ear, please? As for me, I'm going to keep an eye on the comings and goings. Come and find me when you found Stephen Lloyd, if you don't mind. Okay, let's do it. Watch yourself, Ricky. Everything may look under control with the Bureau, but the situation can get messy fast. Fox? Bull asked me to let you know he thinks there's going to be an uprising among the feds. Oh, I gotta admit, I've been afraid of that ever since Parker turned up. But an uprising? Really? I think we can believe Ernest. He seemed pretty sure of how reliable his information is. Well, we have to doubt carefully, Fox. Curtis is behaving like a Boy Scout, and Parker, I don't know. There's something shady about him. But I can't put my finger on what it is. All right, I'm not sure about him either. Gianna nodded in agreement. Anyways, we'll just have to be on our guard. I'm going to keep an eye on the comings and goings. As for you, once you get your hands on Lloyd, I suggest you come here and get me. Then all three of us, you, Bull, and me, will be his escort. I think that's our best chance of keeping him safe. There's a cell guarded by a monk in this corridor. I think Stephen's inside, but we have to persuade the abbot to let me see him. Well, that's who we need to convince to trust us. Thanks for the info. I'll keep an eye on the corridor. Come if you find anything. It's time to talk to Father Diego. Look, Father, I completely understand you want to protect the members of your order, but I really need to talk to Stephen Lloyd. Let the agents do their jobs. They're better able than you are to protect him. My son, I've already told you, Stephen Lloyd is no longer Brother Jeremiah, if you prefer. Where'd you hear that name? Doesn't matter where I heard it. However, I do know where his cell is. It's the one guarded by one of the brothers besides the cloister, isn't it? Look, I'm sorry to insist, but you really don't realize how much danger you're in. I'm certain now that the person we're looking for, Ettore Marjorana, has already infiltrated your circle. This man is extremely dangerous. I found traces of blood in the cellar. I believe one of the monks has been attacked with the goal of stealing his habit. What you suggest is very serious, my son. You can see for yourself. Right. If I let you meet Brother Jeremiah, do you guarantee you and the rest of the agents will leave the monastery immediately after? Well, I didn't have the authority to promise that, but if I want to talk to Lloyd, I don't have much choice. Guarantee it. Very well. I will tell Brother Robert to let you pass. Thank you very much, Father. Don't thank me. Do what you got to do and leave. As for me, if I do indeed have a wounded monk, I must organize a search to find him. The abbot turned away. I finally had free rein to meet Stephen Lloyd. I went back to the cell. The monk guarding it nodded and stepped back. A few moments later, the door opened and a hooded monk crossed the threshold. Despite his hood, I could see the left side of his face was disfigured. It looked like old burn scars. Brother Jeremiah? Good day, my son. Yes, I am Brother Jeremiah, and I greet you in Christ's peace. Brother, I wish to speak with, Stephen Lloyd. I'm sorry, but it's a long time since Stephen Lloyd has inhabited this fleshy body. Stephen has crucial information. My wife has been kidnapped by Ettore Marjorana, and Stephen can help me find her. The name you have spoken has no meaning for me, my son, but I understand your sorrow and the urgency of your situation. If you wish to talk to Stephen, you will have to retrieve him. For that, you must sing the music of sinners and sunrise. Music of sinners and sunrise? Yes. Go, my son, and come back when you found it. I recall the discussion with Parker earlier. Stephen Lloyd would have something to do for his personality to take control of Brother Jeremiah. But what? I have to find what Brother Jeremiah called the music of sinners and sunrise. Don't move, I'll be right back. All right, everybody, what do we think is, I'll go check the cloister again. What do you think this, it's probably right here. All right, before I look at it, what do you think the song of Sinners and Sunrise is? For joy's sake, I would hope it's like... I would hope it's like a television jingle, you know? A sheet of parchment which Psalms, number 23, had been copied with some care. Perhaps the Psalms were the music of sinners that Brother Jeremiah meant? Okay, I'm going to look at the cellar again, make sure. You! An old harmonica has been left here. Could this play the music of sinners and sunrise? There's something else here. Oh, hello. A sheet of paper laid on the floor. A sequence of numbers had been written on it, clearly marked and highlighted. It was the number 42 at the bottom of the page. I don't see what that has to do with the music of sinners and sunrise, but finding it here was odd. I pocketed the paper and planned to show it to Brother Jeremiah. Okay, so back to go talk to him. My son. Let me try the harmonica. I tried my best to play a few notes. Give me that. You don't know how to play. Brother Jeremiah took the instrument from me and... Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that made sense. Lowers his hood and begins to play The House of the Rising Sun. Stephen Lloyd? Yes, who are you and why have you woken me? I'm Detective Ricky Fox. I'm investigating the Viracocha Project. The Viracocha Project? I don't want to talk about that. Why do you think I took the habit and buried my personality so deeply in Jeremiah's it hasn't emerged in years? You're in danger. Lloyd cackled with desperate, demented laughter. I've been in danger ever since I took the disastrous decision to take part in that cursed project. What's changed is that you decide now to wake me. Ettore Marjorana has kidnapped my wife and is killing all the survivors of the Viracocha Project. There's only you left. Ettore Marjorana? That paper pusher? Certainly not, but... I could see the dread in his eyes before he gripped it in himself and added, the creature. It was hiding in Marjorana. This is the second person to mention the existence of a creature after the foreman. Hold on, what is this stuff about a creature? Lloyd gave a nervous giggle. You don't even know. We all thought I died in a fire. If it turned out it survived, assuring my safety is the least of your worries. If it gets its hand on the object, we're all screwed. All screwed, you hear me? Lloyd began screaming, glaring at me wildly. Calm down, Mr. Lloyd, and explain it to me, please. After what seemed like a boundless effort, he finally managed to get a hold of himself. I'm sorry, I got carried away. You need to know the risk you're running. Ask me anything you want. I'll try to throw some light on all this. What does the bell do? You call the object the bell. What does it do? We found it during work on the dam. The excavations unearthed a strange archaeological site. The work was stopped and a research team overseen by the Federal Bureau and the Secret Services were sent in. Archaeologists did their job. Then we continued our research in the research center, which was set up nearby, which must have been powered by the electricity by the Greenheart Dam. The old hospital? Exactly. Listing the site as a medical center is just a front, obviously. Our research quickly took focus on this project that looked like a bell. We realized that this object allowed the fusion of living beings, considering slowing their aging, increasing their physical strength, and resistance to disease. The trade-off was the dominant personality had to remain permanently in control of the fused entity or cooperate to share the control. Like Oscar and Ettore? Yes. Oscar Morrison and Ettore Marjorana were working together during the Viracocha project. Morrison was working on radio waves and Marjorana on the particle physical. It was Morrison who took over when Viracocha was disbanded after the incident, and the other personalities were put into a chemical sleep. What could have happened for Morrison and Marjorana to find themselves in conflict? I see only one possibility. In reality, the entity, Morrison Marjorana, was the host that allowed the creature to survive the incident at the hospital. When Morrison stopped his treatment, the creature awoke too. Hold on, do you mean to say this creature has actually been controlling Morrison from the start? Control is a strong word for it. According to our research, it can take over at any time, but it can't completely control the host except for a limited period. Well, that explains Morrison's odd behavior. He was constantly forced to use subterfuge so that his actions didn't awaken the suspicions of the creature that spied on his movements. I see. Lloyd gave me a moment to digest the information. Tell me about the creature. It's an entity that was asleep in the object. When we began our research, we woke and free it. Of course, we didn't realize it at the time, but at the time we tried to act, it was too late. Do you know where this entity comes from? Not exactly. The two main hypotheses were either it's an extraterrestrial origin or it comes from, how do I put this, another dimension? Seeing my skepticism, Lloyd added, "Oh, don't look at me like that. I'm well aware of how implausible it sounds, but I imagine you've seen enough strange occurrences in Greenheart to be able to appreciate the gravity of what I'm saying. Anyway, strictly speaking, we never managed to establish contact, but it quickly became apparent this entity is not Pacific. Pacific? After the fire at the hospital, we hoped it would perish, but there's a chance it managed to change hosts. Do you know what its plans are? Not exactly, but in my opinion, its main objective is the same as every other living species, to survive. Bearing in mind that it seems to have no way of reproducing, my hypothesis is it will try to make contact with its own kind. Considering the menace of just one of these creatures represents, I dread to think what would become of it if it succeeds. Do you know how it would go about contacting its own kind? By radio signal. It would have to find the right place, the right time to send the signal, and it would need the object. That explains why Morrison had taken the radio equipment from the old hospital. Do you know who's hidden behind the Ticklix alias? Yeah, it was the operational director of the Viracosa project. In theory, the operation was overseen by the Secret Services, but the Federal Bureau insisted on having their piece of the action. The center was jointly detected by Ticklix, an ambitious high flyer from the feds, and by myself as a representative of the intelligence services. The research was led by Dr. Alexander Korkos, a Soviet defector who died during the incident. All right, well, that doesn't tell me the real name of Ticklix. I can give it to you, but I don't know if it'll help you much. I guess he retired a long while back. Lewis Parker, that motherfucker. What, Lewis Parker is Ticklix? Of course, it crossed my mind, but the idea seems too far-fetched. Do you know him? He's here as a special consultant for the Bureau. Lloyd gave another nervous laugh. If Ticklix is here, I don't give much for your chances. You'll definitely want to get the object back. Yes, I gather it's who's got it. And no, I don't want anything to do with that damn thing that destroyed my life. But if you value your own life, you better doubly careful, and I wish you the best of luck, my friend. Suddenly, the possibility of the uprising that Ernest spoke of became a far graver threat. Do you know why the creature is going after the survivors of the Viracosa project? I don't know exactly why, but I suppose we must constitute a threat to its plans. Do you know how to stop it, once and for all? Unfortunately, I don't. We thought it perished in the fire at the hospital, and look at the result. All right, well, I'm going to leave. Time to go. My associates are ready. If you would... Lloyd interrupted me. You go. Me? I have no intention of moving from here. Oh, I'm going to accept it, even though I know it's going to burn down a bunch of monks. All right. Thank you for your precious help, Mr. Lloyd. He nodded and pulled the hood back up. Go in Christ's peace, my son. I hurried to meet Gianna and Ernest in the cloister. It was Bull who I saw first. As I approached him, I felt a hooded shadow brush against me. The shadow grabbed Ernest by his collar, and beneath the hood I could make out Morrison's face, but his gaze was cold and distant, as though if he were a passenger in his own body. You were lucky at the hospital, but that's over. I grasped at him and pulled on his shoulder to make him release Ernest. But he swept me aside with the back of his hand effortlessly. His hood slipped, and now his features had changed. It was no longer Oscar, but Ettore Marjorana who had control. He held the bell in his hand. You gave me more of a run for my money than I expected, but that path ends here and now. He spoke in a strange, almost metallic voice which sent an uncontrollable shudder of terror through me. Was it the creature speaking through Marjorana's mouth? Was it able to communicate? Ettore, or what I should say, the thing turned, causing Bull to stumble, throwing him into me as if he was nothing but a wisp of straw. With its other hand, it raised the cursed bell above its head, making it ring. Suddenly the air seemed to harmonize in a strange frequency, and the unspeakable happened. Ernest's face seemed to melt into my arms, forming a misshapen clump of flesh beneath my stupefied gaze. There was pain, but adrenaline and shock held us as I watched impotent the unthinking. I'm sorry, what the fuck? We fell screaming to the ground, Ernest, me, not knowing where one began and the other ended. The federal agents arrived in a run in a small group, alerting it via cries. Discovering the grotesque monster that Ernest and I had become, one of them took aim. If they decide to open fire, we're done for. Everything happened fast, very fast. Gianna appeared behind the agent who prepared to fire as if she came out of nowhere. In one sharp, precise movement, she disarmed him, snatching his weapon away and neutralizing him with the butt of the gun before drawing her own service weapon. The other feds didn't have time to react to this new threat. They collapsed one after another as the sheriff's lethal bullets, rapid and precise, took them out. In a few moments, most of the agents had been wiped out, and those who had been spared had chose to flee, as had Marjorana, who had used the general chaos to slip away quietly. Bull, Fox, can you walk as far as the car? After I, unless that was Ernest, painfully nodded our head, we dragged ourselves to the vehicle. Gianna was silently evaluating our options as we went around the hairpin bends that separated the Abbey from the town when my telephone began to ring. Without taking her eyes off the road, she grabbed it, answered, and put it on speaker. Detective, I wasn't sure you'd answer, in the circumstances. This is the sheriff. Fox can hear you, but he's unable to speak to you. What do you want? It's simple. My radio equipment disappeared during our little meeting in the Abbey. I'm prepared to free Fox's wife if you bring it to me. He added, you have 24 hours, before hanging up. Considering that Parker hadn't joined the altercation, we had some idea who the thief was. Gianna turned off towards the police station, which was the place we had the best chance of finding Parker and the equipment. Nothing prepared us for what we'd find at the police station. A violent brawl had clearly broken out between Parker's group and those loyal to Curtis. The parking lot was littered with bodies in dark suits. But there were more important things. It was crucial that Ernest and I retook complete control of our shared body. I needed to be able to think clearly, but the sensations of my body distorting as soon as I relaxed my attention, along with Bull's inevitable presence in my mind, heavily limited my cognitive abilities. There was no hope finding Jody in these conditions. Ricky, we can't keep going on like this. You have to take control. Okay, but how? You have to find something to stabilize yourself. Arthur's patients all developed a tic to take control. You have to find yours. Now, easier said than done. You'll figure it out, I'm sure. Anyway, you've got no choice. Fox, are you coming? Gianna was watching me with some concern. I realized I was standing in the middle of the parking lot, talking to myself. Yes, I'm coming. The precinct break room was covered in the scars of a recent armed struggle between the feds and Parker's turncoats. I tried to ignore the lifeless bodies strewn across the room. All that would have to wait. Gianna signaled to me she was going to go further in the building, probably to check that the zone was secured. I responded with a silent thumbs up. As for me, my problem was very difficult. I needed to find a way to get complete control over my body. What would help me do that? No idea. I remember how I groped around trying to find it. Ew, squishies. One of the victims wasn't wearing the dark suit of the federal agent, but dressed in fatigues instead. Does that mean that Parker was under orders from a paramilitary division? If that's the case, our enemies would have had a larger numerical superiority to us. We'd need to be even more careful. William Curtis remained where he'd been surprised and killed by Parker's men, lifeless. Had he seen the betrayal of his special consultant coming? Probably not. I was furious, and I could feel Bull was too. That wasn't going to help me get control. Nancy, coffee? Kitty. Hold on. A photo of Jody. What was that doing here? It must have fallen under the file the feds had made on me and my family. That was the only explanation. I concentrated on my picture, tried to remember what was at stake with my mission here and now. It seemed to work. After a few minutes, I felt more in control. Nope, it's Kitty. Kitty is our focus. Arthur's cat. I remembered I promised myself I'd take it home with me, but it had been impossible to find it after I left town hurriedly after the hospital. Jody, she'd loved that animal, and it loved her back. It would spend all day, all of its time, in her lap when we visit Arthur. That was at least before he left for Greenhearth. Now Arthur's pushing up daisies, and Jody... No, I can't think about what might happen to Jody. I have to save her. I have no choice. No, Kitty is not my focus. Not at all. Not a tiny bit of focus. I wouldn't mind. The map of Greenhearth. Someone had drawn a question mark in a zone. The position was near a dam, a little out of town. Was this where the creature had chosen to live since its return to Greenhearth? It's impossible to say, but it was still a clue, and we really needed those. Ew, why the squishy noise? I remained for a minute, the cat purring vigorously on my knees and a picture of Jody in my hand. Bit by bit, I felt Ernest's presence sink back into my mind. He was still present, but as if he was asleep. I was just about to go and find Gianna. She entered the room. Fox, you look a lot better. Well done. You feel all right? I gestured that yes, I was okay. Great, because I found a survivor. You want to talk to him? Yes, let's go. A rookie Fed had taken refuge in Gianna's office. He was obviously overwhelmed by what happened. Detective Ricky Fox, I have a few questions for you. I know who you are, Mr. Fox. Special Agent Frank Rusby. Are you going to get me out of this, Detective? Tell me what you know first. Okay, what do you want to know? Do you know where I can find Parker? No, I've got no idea, sorry. I haven't seen him since he left for the Abbey. I really don't know how Bubsy would know. Anyways, if we find Morrison, I guarantee Parker won't be far behind. Gianna wasn't wrong, I just asked the wrong questions. Okay. Do you know the location of Oscar Morrison? We were about to have a meeting when we were attacked. I think Curtis was about to tell me what the progress on that. There was a zone circled on the map of town in the break room. Do you think that could be the information we're looking for? Oh, yes, probably. I'll go and get it for you if you like. I think I know where Curtis' notes are. A few minutes later, the three of us were bent over the map that Frank Bubsy had unrolled on the sheriff's desk. Remember the difference between fruits and vegetables is fruits have seeds in them, which in hindsight makes it why they call bottoms fruity. Makes a lot more sense now. Oh, that's a bad one. Worst nightmare. That's a bad one. Gianna, do you know what's there? Yeah, it's an old building lot. The work stopped after the incident with the hospital. Morrison's home's on that side of town. I can't see how he wouldn't know about this place. What do Curtis's notes say? It says in his report that in all probability this is where Oscar Morrison's hiding. From what I understand, they tracked the location of different signals sent back by the radio frequency detection algorithm at regular intervals, and this would be the present location of one of the electromagnetic anomalies. This anomaly went from the Green Hearth Health Center to the Abbey before returning and stopping at the circle zone in the map, which corresponds precisely with what we know of Morrison's route. Fox, I think we got him. I guess that was the information Parker was waiting for to start his insurrection. Yes, and I suspect he's already out there. Okay, I'm gonna just... Thanks. I think we got all we need. Do you know how to get to this building lot, Gianna? Yeah, we'll take one of the service cars. What about me? What do I do? I noticed out of the corner of my eye that Gianna was ready to draw her weapon. Shit. Do we let her do it? Do we let her snipe him? I feel like no is the answer, but, you know, I don't think I make good choices anymore. Screw it. I'd normally stop her, but let her go. In a flash, Gianna had drawn her gun and put a bullet in Frank Bubsy's head. He collapsed instantly. Was it really necessary? Sure. No witnesses. Let Gianna kill Frank Bubsy. What have I done? Was it necessary? A safety measure. I'm getting sick by being duped by Parker and that creature. Yeah, well. And I had no desire at the idea of going to rustle up more federal agents popping into the guy's head. In any case, we really didn't have the leisure to dwell on the question. The creature asked us to contact it if we found its radio equipment. Yes, but since we already know its location, we don't need to tip it off unnecessarily. Okay, I just hope Parker has been smart enough not to take the equipment with him. And if things go wrong, the creature will be holding all the cards to put its plan into action. I wouldn't count on it. Parker probably believes the equipment will be the safest wherever he and his men are around to protect it. Oh, and Fox? How's it going with Bull? He's still there, but it's like he's asleep. I'm in the one control for now, at least. Good, because I'm going to need you to have my back. She gave a small sigh and added with determinedness. Let's go. No point hanging around. Arthur's cat had come into the room and rubbed itself against the sheriff's legs, purring and meowing plaintively. She took it in her arms before grabbing a set of car keys. We headed off top speed toward the creature's lair. Parker was there, preparing his attack. He and his men had taken shelter in a garage. 4 people in total, him and 3 mercenaries dressed in fatigues. They didn't seem to notice our arrival. Their attention was focused on a derelict house about 30 yards from their shelter. I don't know what I expected. Something worse. The situation actually looked fairly manageable for the sheriff and I. She signaled to me to get out. When I opened the door, Arthur's cat slipped out and disappeared into a bush. Then, without a moment's hesitation, she drove full speed at Parker. Bullets sprayed in her direction, but there wasn't much they could do against an armored police car hurtling towards them. At the last moment, Gianna threw herself from the vehicle, letting the car finish its journey, knocking down one of our opponents. The others had no time to react. Each of them took a volley of bullets. The threat was reduced to nothing in moments. As for Parker, he'd once again vanished. Too bad. As this was happening, I approached the derelict house and entered the room on the first floor. Jody, she was near, I was sure. Morrison was there. He'd used the situation to get his radio equipment back. Oscar, I know you can hear me. Fight! Don't let this thing control you. Detective Morrison, you see, in the end, I didn't need you to get the equipment. Oscar, or the creature controlling him, had no time to finish their sentence before Gianna came in and threw herself onto them. But she was repelled with a backhand and landed heavily on the ground. I used the distraction to push open the door to the other room, where I found Jody, my Jody, gagged and bound in a chair. She looked terrified but unharmed. Behind me, Gianna and the creature were entwined in a violent struggle. There is a lot going on in that picture. Just as the sheriff was about to overcome Morrison, he began to change into something inhuman. When I realized the creature had taken out the bell and was about to ring it, I tried to intervene, but it was too late. I don't want to remember. Oh no! I don't want to remember what happened next. We were fusing. Gianna, Oscar, Ernest, Ettore, the creature, and me. I saw one of our limbs reach towards Jody. The creature, it was holding the bell. I understood what it wanted to do, but I was unable to stop it. Suddenly, Ettore and the creature detached from us and threw themselves onto Jody, still tied up. Someone, maybe Gianna, detached the bell from the thing's hand, but it was too late. Jody, I saw her face distort with the bell's effect. It was unbearable. I slammed the door. We had to stabilize. One of us had to take control. Oh, that's why we're here now. I sat at the desk and I began to write. And I won. I have control. Oh, I completed the episode as Ricky. Holy shit, there was an option I couldn't be Ricky? I am Ricky Fox, and I will save you, Jody, I swear. That's it. I'm finally myself again. This house, this is where I wrote my story. And we've completed episode 4. Thank you. I'll leave my notes here. Maybe someone will find them. The noises from the other room have stopped. I'm afraid to look, but I have to force myself. I think it's managed to escape. The creature, it took possession of Jody. Can I still save her? I don't know. But it's even more pressing now that it has everything it needs to put its plan into action. The radio equipment, the bell. I must find a way to stop it. The trouble is, I have no idea what to do next. Yeah, this sounds like an absolute mess. The voices in my head have fallen silent, but I'm going to need Ernest's ingenuity, Gianna's determination, and even Oscar's knowledge of that thing. Maybe I can find a way to bring them to the surface without losing control. I just have to convince them to join forces with me. I'll start by exploring the house. Oh, well, you can see all 3 of us there. Oh, 4. Okay, we're slowly panning. You can see Bull here at the very end, but there's everybody now. There was only one person, I think, in the drawings before. The dam. Oh, there's a lot more color on this now. God, this is that pretty. Oh yeah, I completely had unfocused on this, but like towards the end we had color now. I'm gonna search the house. Search for things. There must be something to find here. Bloodstain. Looks like a cave for the creature. Gianna must have injured it when she was trying to restrain it. Let's hope it slowed down a bit. Let's see if there's anything here. As I enter the other room, I feel a twinge of grief. I already knew the creature that had seized my wife's body was gone, but that doesn't prevent me from brooding on the hell she must be going through. I don't know if I can save her, but I gotta try. Ah, a crowbar. I'll keep it with me. Might be useful. Nothing else to find for now. Well, let's go look at the garage. The garage where Parker and his henchmen launched their attack on the house, the creature taking refuge. Of course, Parker managed to make it out once again, but he had to abandon his equipment as he ran. Probably some interesting things. Loose paper on the floor. Looks like research notes with operating instructions. I have to find the rest of them. Another sheet of instructions. I'm still missing APs, but for what I understand from the partial information, these are the operating instructions for the system to detect the people affected by the bell. Okay, there's got to be another piece of paper around here. It's you! The missing page of the operating instructions for the system to detect people affected by the bell. I guess Oscar maybe figured it out. I have to still find the equipment to go with the instructions. One of Parker's men. Can't believe he managed to get away. The service car uses a ram to eliminate the mercenaries has finished its journey in a metal cabinet. It's in surprisingly good shape considering the circumstances, but it wouldn't start. The trouble is I'm useless with car mechanics. Maybe the sheriff would know what to do to get it running, though? A police radio. Suppose this is how Parker communicated with his men. A locked briefcase. Wonder what's inside. Maybe the system to locate people? It wasn't at the precinct, which means Parker probably stole it during the attack, which explains why it's here. I'm able to force the lock without much difficulty thanks to the crowbar, and I'm able to check that it's indeed the positioning system. That's good news. That means we can locate the creature. I think I've seen everything in the garage. Okay, I'm going to try talking to Gianna first. Arthur, save Greenhearth? I have to find a way to wake Gianna. She wanted to bring Arthur's cat with us. If I get my hat on that damn animal, it might help her resurface. Okay. I'm going to see what everybody wants first before I go searching. More information. I need more information. I don't exactly know what Ernest means by more information, but it does give me an idea what to spark his interest. My son? Nathan, my son? I'm not surprised that Morrison's thinking of his family, but I already know it can wake him. A drawing. Maybe if I show him one of his own, or if he actually left one at the house, that should be enough. Okay, let's go search the house again. Ah, Kitty! Of course, Arthur's cat survived the firefight. I know Gianna was fond of it. Maybe you can help me wake her. Okay. Oopa. Oscar's drawing. Would that bring him out of his torpor? Nothing to find in this room now. Go to the garage, find some information. Ah, well, how you do? A stamp-filed Ernest Bull. As I pick it up, I feel a spark of interest from Ernest's mind. Maybe this will help wake him. All right. Let's talk to Gianna first, because the cat's going to run. Have to save Greenhearth. Seeing the sheriff reduced to a shadow in a corner of my mind is a very strange sight. And despite that, her thoughts seem to have wavered between Arthur Petrovsky and her duty to the townspeople. I put Arthur's cat in my lap, and just when I was in distress at the police station trying to get the upper hand on Ernest's intellect, the animal permits it. It's almost as if it has a sixth sense for these things. Arthur's cat. I promised myself I'd take care of it after he died. But I lost it. I lost everything. How can I take care of Greenhearth if I can't take care of a stupid cat? All is not lost. At least not yet. We have a small chance of stopping that creature. I'm going to need you to do that. Yes, you're right. We still got a chance of stopping that creature. I won't lie to you. I'd rather be in control, but never mind. I'll do what I can to help you. Thanks. I need help getting the car started. The squad car? I should be able to handle that. We went to look at how badly the vehicle was damaged. Yeah, the radiator's taken a bang, but I should be able to patch it up. Gotta need some tools. I'll see what I can do. I think I saw a toolbox in the house. Toolbox. Oh, right there. A toolbox. I'll have to ask Gianna if it's got what we need. Okay, Gianna? Found a toolbox. Does it have what you need to fix the car? Yeah, it's not perfect, but I should be able to cobble something together. 15 minutes later, thanks to the sheriff's instructions, car's ready to go. Right, we wouldn't make it across country, but it should be good enough to get us back to Greenhearth. That's one less thing to worry about. Okay, time to talk to Ernest. I opened the file stamped with Ernest Bull's name on it and began to turn the pages. It recounts Bull's past in detail, events that led to him being placed in the witness protection program and dumped in Greenhearth. Little by little, his mind becomes more coherent. When I reached the part exposing the Bureau's guilt in his brother's death, Bull is more stable. I knew it. This is the proof I needed to bring down the people responsible for my brother's death. I have to send this to my contacts. Right, but how? We're in an abandoned building lot in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that's true. We'd have to find a computer or a fax. There's something I still don't understand, though. Why did Parker have this file? Parker probably has got files on all of us, and with his clearance level, this one is far more complete than anything I managed to dig up until now. Stopping the creature is still our absolute priority, of course, but if I get the chance to send this file to the right people, I'd be grateful. Okay, If I can count on your help in return, no problem. I'm so unused to all this color. There's so much color and sound. I won't let you down, Ricky. Thanks. Okay, let's talk to Morrison. Rose, I know you're thinking of your wife, but look at this drawing I found. Can you concentrate on it, please? Little by little, I feel Oscar's mind become coherent. Thank you for calling me back, Detective. We absolutely must stop this creature before it can call its kind, and as you must imagine, time is of the essence. We're on the same wavelength, and I'm delighted to hear it. The priority is obviously trying to find a way to get back to town. I'm counting on you to find a solution. I suggest we check back before we leave. Until then, don't hesitate to call if needed. Okay. I found this case with electronic equipment. Looks like the system you took from the hospital. Yes, it does resemble my equipment. I suppose it must be the system the Bureau developed to locate the people affected by the bell. Well, that's what the instruction manual suggests. Parker must have brought it with him when he left the station. Will you be able to use it? The manual you found? Yes, I think I could manage. Oscar gave me step-by-step instructions to follow. There we go. You see that dot on the screen? That's us. And the other dot? That's the creature. It's heading for the dam. For the dam? Yes, I believe the creature is going to try and use the reservoir to amplify the signal. It's how it plans to call its fellows, so we know where it's going. Yes, and I have a plan to stop it. That's good news. I'm listening. Well, I'm not certain you'll see it as good news, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'd rather we check back with the other two before we leave, if you don't mind. All right. Check back, and let's go. All right, we got a mode of transport, and we know where to find the creature. It's time to check back and make a plan with my cohabitants. All right. We all agreed stopping the creature's top priority. Yes, thanks for stating the obvious, Fox, but how do you plan to do it? We have a solution, but I don't think you're going to like it much. I'm very much afraid that our chances of getting out of this alive are negligible. You're aware the creature forced me to kill Raymond Kowalski, but do you know why? As far as I know, it was just the first of the series of murders targeting Petrovsky's patients, wasn't it? No, killing the survivors of the Vera Costa project was the foreman's plan in order to kill the creature's host and be rid of the threat. The creature only began wanting to strike down those affected by the bell when its existence was discovered. Actually, Raymond possessed a large quantities of explosives and was preparing to blow up the dam. Why? Why is this information only coming to light now? Because I, or at least the creature, stopped him in time. And you want us to use those explosives to do what exactly? Use some form of leverage against the creature? Exactly, but I must warn you, the chances of us having blown up the dam is the chance of us having to blow up the dam is far from non-existent. What about Jody? I'm sorry, Fox, but I'm afraid it's too late to save your wife. I remind you, time is against us, and that thing has the bell. Gianna's probably right, but I'm not giving up easily. That said, having some leverage will probably considerably improve my chances. Okay, where are the explosives, Oscar? At Greenhearth Bank. The sheriff is wary. Just what are you thinking, Morrison? It's the safest place. As you know, you can lease a safe deposit box in strict confidence, and the bank itself doesn't know what's inside. All right, if no one has any objections, let's go to the bank. We'll refine our plan when we get the explosives. This sounds like a terrible plan, but let's go for it. When I climb into the car, Arthur's old cat slips in beside me. I let it. Then I start the car, and with the motor sputtering, I head for the Greenhearth Bank. Like the rest of the town, Greenhearth Bank is completely empty. Had Parker sent in an evacuation notice? Well, that means at least if we're forced to blow up the dam, we'll only be sacrificing our lives, and unfortunately Jody's. Family photo, probably a personal belonging to the staff member at the reception desk. I turn it around and notice a series of numbers jotted on the back. Interesting. You, Papa? No? You? Oh, a lighter. That might be useful. Oh, yeah, it might be. The bank reception is a fairly new computer. I feel Ernest's mind stir when I notice it. He wants to find a way to send the information to the Parker file, but I need to find the password. Oh, the back of the photo. Yeah, I tried that and it works. We have to scan the files. There has to be a fax around here somewhere. Faxy boy. Let's see. Come on. Give me a sound. What's that? A smoke detector. With a bit of luck, it might control the door locks. When I move the lighter flame close to the smoke detector, the door to the safe deposit box makes an unmistakable click. Fun. I find a way to the vault without any trouble. What surprised me as I go inside, apart from the fact the building's completely empty, is the relative disorder of the room. It looks as though some of the boxes have been hastily emptied, which seems to confirm the theory of a strategic retreat after a call from the authorities. Let's hope the explosives are still there. With Arthur's instructions, I find the right box without difficulty. I guess that's a fair point. Raymond certainly hadn't skimped. There's more than enough to blow up a dam. How much bombs are there? Baba? A telephone. I immediately think of my son. I have to warn Jackie what might happen to me. I pick up the phone and dial the number. It's ringing. She has to pick up. Hello? Jackie, it's Ricky. Ricky, at last, I've been worried sick. Are you coming home soon? And Jody, is she okay? I take a deep breath and tell her everything as clearly as possible. She doesn't believe me, and I can understand that. I make her promise to take care of Chris, and I hang up. Probably the hardest thing I've done in my life, but at least it's done. During the conversation, I feel Oscar's presence stirring. Rose, you have to call her. I need to be sure she and my son have evacuated. All right. I mean, I did it for mine. I might as well. Yes? Miss Morrison, this is Ricky Fox. Oh, Detective, I'd hope you let me know what happened. Have you found my husband? Yes and no. Listen, Miss Morrison, it was him who asked me to warn you. You have to leave town. What about Oscar? What's going to happen to him? I'm sorry, Miss Morrison. I'm afraid I have to hurry. I don't have much time to waste. Please get out of town right away. Wait! And I hang up. Oscar's mind seems satisfied. Anybody else need a phone call made? Ah, there's a flash drive on the table. Seems to interest Ernest Bull greatly. Ricky, you have to send the file we found in the abandoned house to my contacts out of town. Okay, how do I do that? I notice there's a multifunction copier in the corridor. You just have to scan the most important pages, send the files with the reception computer. All right. I follow Ernest's instructions. When the last file gets to 100% transferred, I feel like a sigh in Ernest's mind. Thank you. Even if we don't make out of this dam alive, I can be sure that Parker won't go unpunished. I'm about to leave, and I feel the sheriff's mind take over. Wait, I have a favor to ask you, too. Arthur's cat. All I ask is you make sure it survives. There's a tunnel leading out of town on the road to the dam. Could you just let it go there? After giving in to all my other cohabitants' requests, I can't exactly refuse Gianna this little favor. Okay. Thanks. I stop at the entrance to the tunnel the sheriff had shown me, and I release Arthur's cat. The animal rubs itself against my legs one last time, gazes at me sadly, as though it feels its mistress's presence and was telling her goodbye before it starts off into the tunnel. When the cat finally disappears into the gloom, I feel the sheriff's mind filled with a kind of gentle resignation. After abandoning the car by foot of the dam, I begin to ascend the service ladder. It takes me longer than I expected. I really hope I'm not going to be too late. After entering the heart of the concrete construction, I set up the explosives, following Oscar's instructions. He seems surprisingly learned in the subject. I do it without questions. Time is short. As I lay the last charge, I hear the strange noises and the creature emerges from the shadows. Ricky, what are you doing here? Is Chris all right? Not only is it wearing Jody's features, but it's speaking with her voice. I gather my courage. I mustn't falter, not now. Jody, I know you're in there. Fight it. Sorry, Fox, but it's too late. You should have run with the others while you still could. A low rumble resonates through the dam's structure. Dinner is served. I know what I have to do. It's the only thing I can to give my son a future. Chris, I'm sorry. "48 hours have passed since the explosion at the dam which submerged the town of Greenhearth beneath the waters. Thanks to the evacuation orders from the authorities, human losses have been minimal. We don't exactly know what brought about the destruction of the dam, but an inquiry is underway. Note that Sheriff Gianna Walters is still AWOL and probably lost her life trying to stop the explosion, and an official funeral has been scheduled. Good news is the object has been located and the experiments can finally recommence. You will remember to note in the report that the terroristic threat was overborne thanks to the efforts of my team, won't you? What a shame none of them survived. I do hope the next Curtis will be as malleable as the last one. Right, come on, Liz, there's nothing left for us to do. That bitch survived?! What?! What?! What? 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 How did Liz survive? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Does it just... Oh, no, game over. No, okay. Oh my god, what is this? Ah. What? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Hold on. Wait. It is very hard to find out something and explain the ending a little bit better because there are quite a few games named Echoes. Oh, Tippity Tappity Taps? What? What about Tippity Taps? Hold on, let me see. No. Open up my Steam again. I want to see this. You? I don't know. Oh, my Tippity Taps, right? Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you know there are some achievements that I don't have because they're hidden, which is good. Good, do that. I'm apparently one of the 8.1% of people playing this game to let Gianna kill Bubsy. So, we never found about the possible survivor at the Abbey. Apparently, we could have completed episode 4 as anybody. What? I mean, it's a good game. You should definitely check it out. Maybe try it. It's like, but that just what? I loved all the color coming back in at the end of the thing. It's a very interesting game. I will put it that way. I did not know that Liz had survived. I didn't know how Liz could have survived. Well, at least that bitch ain't gonna be able to get away with nothing, because, well, we sent in all the information we could on that. Yeah, that's a mind mess. You know, like I'm agreeing with you there, Flossie, because I'm like, what? How did Liz survive? Oh, how did she survive? Like, so okay, does that mean that Survivor had to be Liz? What happened to Inez? Is Inez actually dead? Okay. My brain's just burnt. Oh. The frizz. The frizz, I tells you. Oh, my brain. She be melted, my friends. Huh. Okay. That is an interesting game. I might try playing it on my own to pick a couple more days. Well, I have nothing planned. Oh, but that's that's okay. I have someone who I can read out to us, who's a very nice person, who I've been watching them as they play. They play really late at night, though, normally, so I haven't been able to see them, been able to read them at all. So, I don't know what if I have in my brain for Long Dark today. I thought about it, and I was like, and I'm like, I hate to say it. I thought about it, too. I was like, last night, I was like, Long Dark? I'm like, I don't know. At least, yeah, I don't know. But at the very least, I can leave you with somebody. Hey, Bear, go back in your cave. Bear, go back in your cave. Thank you. Well, yeah. So,
Oh no!
I know, much oh no's, much unknows. But at the very least, we got to see the end of the game. My voice didn't crack out completely. Yeah, there's that much, right? Right? But, yeah, I thought about doing, like, reading a book or so, but if you don't have permission, you can get the videos taken down. You're supposed to delete the VODs after all that, and I can't delete this VOD because I want to put it up on YouTube to connect with the other videos I got, and it's like, so, wow. Yeah. At least I'm going to go try and clean my house or something, right? Joys.
Emotional damage.
Very much emotional damage. I will see if... Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Either we'll play some Baldur's Gate tomorrow, or Mass Effect, or maybe I'll play The Long Dark. I'm not quite certain. You know, just get to try and do something like that. Sorry it's so much shorter of a stream, but at least we finished the game. I didn't think there was that little of time left.
That
just,
man should be arrested immediately.
In true. I hope he does get arrested. Alright.
What the dog doing?
He's sleeping. Mostly sleeping. It's okay, take care of yourself. Thanks so much. I'm gonna give you somebody you can listen to. She's so super awesome too. So if you have a sub with me, you can go ahead and copy paste that. If you don't, you can go ahead and copy paste that so you can still show some love over there. Make sure to take your meds. Be sure to eat some food, drink some water. It's good for you. And above all, take care. Be kind to yourself and others. Okay. So stick around for the raid and go show some love. Okay. I see you tomorrow. All right. Much love. Bye.